Look, my throat's gone already, okay? Look around you, feel your strength. You are part of a tidal wave of patriotism that is sweeping across this country.
Tommy Robinson's next move, a political storm brewing. Right, let's get straight to the point, shall we? If you haven't subscribed to UK Connors yet, do it now, because what I'm about to tell you will fundamentally change how you view the current state of British politics, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. The reign was biblical, absolutely biblical. As Tommy Robinson took the stage for his Unite the Kingdom demonstration, the heavens opened with what can only be described as prophetic timing. One moment it was a gentle drizzle, the next a complete deluge. But here's what should terrify every political establishment figure in Westminster. Despite the weather that would send most Brits scurrying for the nearest Costa, over 100,000 people marched down Whitehall. Let that sink in for a moment. 100,000 people, in torrential rain, following a man who's been imprisoned multiple times and branded a pariah by mainstream politics. This wasn't just another protest. This was a seismic shift in British political consciousness, and if you think Tommy Robinson is planning to quietly fade into obscurity, you're about to be very, very wrong. The atmosphere was electric, almost evangelical. Crosses held high like religious icons, photographs of Charlie Kirk carried like saintly relics, and Bishop Syrian Jew declaring this the beginning of two revivals, one political and one cultural. Robinson has cleverly wrapped his movement in Christian nationalism, borrowing heavily from the American playbook where faith-based politics has proven devastatingly effective at mobilizing voters. This isn't accidental, mind you. It's strategic brilliance that allows him to tap into American evangelical funding streams while providing theological justification for his anti-Islam rhetoric. But let's talk about the international dimension, because this is where things get genuinely alarming for the establishment. The lineup read like a who's who of European far-right politics. Eric Zemmour, the French presidential candidate, delivered his speech entirely in French, appealing to shared Anglo-French heritage. Eva Vlarengebrink from the Netherlands, sporting a Generation Remigration t-shirt, spoke about the Great Replacement theory. Philip Dewinter declared Islam the real enemy of Europe. Even Brian Tamaki, a Maori pastor from New Zealand accused of cult leadership, called for the closure of all mosques and temples in Christian nations. This wasn't a British political rally. This was the foundation of what Steve Bannon has long dreamed of creating, a nationalist international. The outlines of a new world order were visible from every corner of the continent, and Robinson positioned himself as the British standard-bearer for this movement. Now, here's where it gets interesting, and if you're not already subscribed, you're missing crucial analysis like this every week. Robinson's rise isn't happening in a vacuum. For 20 years, he's been consistently ahead of the curve on issues that eventually become mainstream concerns. As he told the Trigonometry podcast last month, when people say I'm guilty of things, I'm guilty of being a decade ahead. And infuriatingly for his critics, he's often proven right. The question that should keep establishment politicians awake at night is this: can Robinson transform this chaotic energy into genuine political power? The traditional gatekeepers are losing their grip. Mainstream political parties have always considered him beyond the pale, but that strategy is backfiring spectacularly. Garwin Towler, Nigel Farage's longtime aide, captured the establishment's dilemma perfectly when he described Robinson as quite articulate and bright, but warned that there's a peripheral aspect of what Tommy does that's repellent, and some of his key supporters have unpleasant histories. The problem is, this moral squeamishness is being interpreted by Robinson supporters as elite snobbery and democratic contempt. Enter Ben Habib, the former Brexit Party MEP who left Reform UK to establish Advance UK precisely because Farage wouldn't embrace mass deportations. Robinson is now among Habib's 32,000 party members, and when Habib appeared at Saturday's rally, protesters queued to shake his hand and get their caps signed. Someone even held up a handwritten Ben for number 10 sign. Habib's argument is compelling in its democratic simplicity. Why would any politician turn down the opportunity to address the British public? What kind of democratic politician turns away votes? But the real game changer isn't happening in British politics at all. It's happening in Silicon Valley and across the Atlantic. When Elon Musk purchased Twitter in 2022 and restored Robinson's account the following year, he provided the crucial platform for Robinson's return to prominence. Musk's video message to Saturday's rally was stark in its implications. If this continues, violence will come to you, and you will have no choice. You either fight back or you die. American support for Robinson runs deeper than social media endorsements. Christian nationalist movements in the United States have been financially backing his operations, though some funding streams have dried up following his conviction for libeling a Syrian schoolboy. One American donor told me this week that his organization had severed all ties with Robinson, calling him a son of a bitch and expressing hope never to deal with him again. But here's the crucial point. Enough American money remains to keep Robinson's operation running and growing. The summer's asylum seeker demonstrations across Britain bore Robinson's fingerprints even when he wasn't physically present. In July, outside a London hotel, the first thing a young protester mentioned when I asked why he was there was Tommy Robinson. In Epping, as violence erupted and men tried to tear down hotel signs, Tommy Robinson chants echoed through the streets. His influence has metastasized far beyond his physical presence. And if you think this is just about street protests and social media influence, you're missing the bigger picture entirely. Make sure you're subscribed because the political implications of what I'm about to explain will reshape British electoral politics in ways most commentators refuse to acknowledge. Robinson supporters aren't just angry protesters. They are voters who feel abandoned by mainstream politics. Gurmeet Singh Kalarai, given 6.5 years for making death threats and slashing a shop worker's throat, was there on Saturday. Liam Tufts, whose father Peter Gillett was adopted as a son by criminal Reggie Cray, served as the event's compere. These aren't people seeking parliamentary representation through traditional channels. They are revolutionaries who believe the system is rigged against them, and they are increasingly willing to support anyone who promises to tear it down. Ezra Levant, the Canadian founder of Rebel Media who championed Robinson early and continues running online fundraising campaigns, represents another crucial element: the international media infrastructure supporting this movement. This isn't just British nationalism anymore. It's part of a coordinated international effort to reshape Western democracy itself. The establishment's response has been predictably inadequate. They continue treating Robinson as a fringe figure while his influence grows exponentially. Reform UK maintains its distance, terrified of association with his more extreme supporters. The Conservative Party pretends he doesn't exist. Labour focuses on his criminal convictions while ignoring the legitimate concerns driving his support base. This collective head-in-the-sand approach is political malpractice of the highest order. Robinson understands something that traditional politicians don't. Authenticity trumps respectability in the current political climate. His supporters don't care about his libel convictions or his association with unsavory characters. They care that he's consistently said what they are thinking, often years before mainstream politicians dare acknowledge the same issues. Whether it concerns about Islamic extremism, mass immigration, or cultural change, Robinson positioned himself as their voice when no one else would. The international dimension cannot be overstated. When Alternative für Deutschland's Petar Bystrom appears alongside Romanian George Simeon and French Eric Zemmour at a Robinson rally, we're witnessing the construction of something unprecedented, a coordinated European far-right political movement with American financial backing and global media reach. This isn't nationalism in one country anymore. It's transnational populism with revolutionary ambitions. So what's Tommy Robinson planning to do next? The clues are all there if you know where to look, and regular subscribers to UK Connors get this analysis weeks before it becomes obvious to everyone else. He's building a political movement that transcends traditional party politics. He's cultivating international alliances that provide both ideological support and practical resources. He's positioning himself as the authentic voice of working-class concerns while mainstream politicians remain trapped in Westminster bubble thinking. The establishment's greatest fear should be this: Robinson doesn't need to win elections to reshape British politics. He just needs to continue growing his influence until mainstream politicians are forced to adopt his positions to remain electorally viable. We've seen this playbook work across Europe and America. Politicians who initially dismissed similar movements as fringe later found themselves adopting increasingly hardline positions to stem the electoral bleeding. Robinson's next move will likely involve greater political institutionalization through parties like Ben Habib's Advance UK, combined with continued international networking and American fundraising. He'll leverage social media platforms, particularly X under Musk's ownership, to amplify his message and coordinate with similar movements across the Western world. Most importantly, he'll continue positioning himself as the inevitable alternative when mainstream politics inevitably fails to address the concerns driving his support. The political establishment can continue pretending Tommy Robinson is a spent force, but the evidence suggests otherwise. His influence is growing, his international network is expanding, and his political moment may be arriving just as traditional parties face their greatest credibility crisis in generations. This is a reality of contemporary British politics, whether the establishment likes it or not. Tommy Robinson isn't planning to fade away quietly. He's planning to reshape the entire political landscape, and based on Saturday's demonstration, he might just succeed. Subscribe to UK Connors now because you won't want to miss what happens next in this unfolding political revolution. The establishment certainly won't